U.S. President Donald Trump said the fragile ceasefire with Iran was on its last legs after rejecting its counteroffer to a U.S. proposal to end the war.
Just hours after the expiration of a 3-day truce, Russia launched over 200 attack drones at Ukraine overnight. The European Union imposed sanctions on several Russian officials and entities accused of helping Moscow in the abduction of thousands of children from Ukraine.
The European Union has approved sanctions on Israeli settlers over their violence against Palestinians in the West Bank.
U.S. President Donald Trump said the fragile ceasefire with Iran was on its last legs after rejecting its counteroffer to a U.S. proposal to end the war. He struck down Iran's demands, which asked for recognition of its sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, war reparations, the lifting of international sanctions, the unfreezing of Iranian assets held abroad, and an end to the war between Israel and Hezbollah in Lebanon.
Are they stupid people? They didn't want to believe it. They think that, well, I'll get tired of this, or I'll get bored, or I'll have some pressure. But there's no pressure. There's no pressure at all. We're going to have a complete victory. After reading that piece of garbage they sent us, I didn't even finish reading it. They said, I'm not going to waste my time reading it. I would say it's one of the weakest right now. I would say the ceasefire is on massive life support, where the doctor walks in and says, sir, your loved one has approximately a 1% chance of living.
Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson denied his country was asking for concessions, adding that the demands were only Iran's legitimate rights. The volatility could tip the Middle East back into open warfare and prolong the worldwide energy crisis sparked by the conflict, with Iran's chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz and America's blockade of Iranian ports still in place.
Just hours after the expiration of a 3-day truce, Russia launched over 200 attack drones at Ukraine overnight, President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Tuesday. The Ukrainian leader said more than 80 aerial bombs and over 30 airstrikes were recorded, targeting residential buildings, energy and transport facilities, and a kindergarten. The strikes killed a man and wounded at least 4 in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Russian forces also targeted Kyiv and struck a 20-story residential building. Moscow launched the strikes just hours after the U.S. brokered 72-hour truce came to an end on Monday night. Russia's army said Ukraine had also restarted its retaliatory attacks, saying its air defense units had downed 27 Ukrainian drones after the ceasefire expired. Although Ukraine and Russia traded accusations of violations, no major strikes were reported during the truce. Zelensky had warned on Sunday, however, that Ukraine would react if Russia decided to return to a full-scale war. The European Union imposed sanctions on 16 Russian officials accused of helping Moscow in the abduction of tens of thousands of children from Ukraine. The new sanctions target individuals responsible for the systematic and unlawful deportation, forced transfer, and forced assimilation of Ukrainian minors. 7 entities have also been sanctioned, including Russian federal state institutions linked to the Ministry of Education.
Stealing children is not incidental. It is a deliberate Russian policy, a calculated attack on Ukraine's future. Over 20,000 Ukrainian children remain trapped in Russia or in Russian-occupied territories. They have been torn from their families, stripped of their names, language and identity. And this is a criminal attempt to erase Ukraine's future generation.
Sanctions include an asset freeze, and EU citizens and companies are prohibited from making funds or economic resources available to those listed. Those sanctioned are also subject to a travel ban.
The EU agreed on Monday to sanction Israeli settlers over their violence against Palestinians in the West Bank, a move enabled by backing from Hungary's incoming government. The sanctions, which include asset freezes and travel bans, come amid growing international criticism of Israeli settlement expansion and escalating violence in the occupied territories.
Today, we reached a political agreement to sanction Israeli extremist settlers and entities. This goes together with new sanctions on leading Hamas figures. This means that we move from the political deadlock that was there for a long time. Violence and extremism carry consequences.
The measures will also target Hamas members, which the EU designates as a terrorist organization, a condition required by some countries in order to support the sanctions. In addition to sanctions against violent settlers, the EU is examining other options to respond to Israel, including a trade ban on products originating from the settlements or high European Union tariffs on imports aimed at making such trade prohibitive. However, many of those measures will be hard to adopt, as they would need either unanimous agreement or a qualified majority among EU member states. German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius and his Ukrainian counterpart Mikhailo Fedorov signed an agreement in Kiev on Monday to launch Brave Germany. This joint program is focused on developing defense technology and supporting innovative startups. Pistorius arrived in Kiev on Monday for a surprise visit aimed at deepening defense cooperation between the two countries. Speaking to German news agency DPA, Pistorius said the trip would focus on expanding joint arms projects and the development of cutting-edge unmanned systems across all ranges, particularly in the area of deep strike, said Pistorius.
Es geht nicht darum, dass nur immer der eine jeweils von dem anderen profitiert, sondern es wechselseitig darauf ausgelegt ist, dauerhaft miteinander zu kooperieren und zum gegenseitigen und gemeinschaftlichen Nutzen besser zu werden. Und die Daten, die die Ukraine jetzt im 5. Jahr auf dem Gefechtsfeld sammelt, durch Einsatz von Luftverteidigung, von Drohnen, von Gefechtsfahrzeugen aller Art, strategisch, taktische Manöver, all das gehört dazu. Aber vor allen Dingen die Daten, die entstehen durch die digitale Form der Kriegführung, sind Daten, die sonst niemand hat.
According to the Ukrainian news outlet Ukrinform, Fedorov said Germany was now the world's leading provider of security support for Ukraine. He added that Berlin accounted for around a third of all assistance provided to the country. After a visit to Berlin last month, Mikhailo Fedorov announced on Telegram that Germany and Ukraine had agreed on a new €4 billion defense package.
At least 880 civilians were killed in drone strikes in Sudan so far this year, according to a new UN report released on Monday. The report warned that the statistics exceed numbers from the same time period last year, noting that the conflict is headed towards a, quote, even deadlier phase. Drone strikes carried out by the armed forces and paramilitary group the Rapid Support Forces have intensified in recent months across the country. The unmanned projectiles make up around 80% of all conflict-related civilian deaths, according to UN Human Rights Chief Volker Turk. Turk added that unless immediate action is taken to address the situation and decrease harm on civilians, several areas are expected to be plunged deeper into famine and crises, and deaths could reach unprecedented levels. The war in Sudan has been raging for more than 3 years now and has created what the UN describes as the world's worst man-made humanitarian crisis. Hundreds of thousands of people were killed, and roughly 1/5 of the population, around 11 million, were internally displaced as the warring sides continue to push to expand their territorial holds.
You want to know what makes a hero? It's not destiny. It's not something you're born with. It's searching for greatness.
Johnny Cage, you have been chosen for Mortal Kombat.
Then realizing you've had it in you this entire time.
We learned a lot from the first movie. I think the producer, Todd Garner, really took into what fans were saying feedback-wise, and we just wanted to just make this the most insane fight film ever. So the first movie, to me, is kind of like a prequel, building up to the tournament, and this is the tournament. From the second you watch it, non-stop action, and yeah, it's very intense.
Whoa! I really don't feel comfortable hitting a girl.
Don't worry.
We won't.
Yo, send me back. I want to go back.
The rules of the tournament are simple. Our fates would not be settled by the size of our armies. They would be decided by combat.
I'm not some great warrior. I'm not some champion.
This is a war for the fate of your world.
Finish him! Me.
Earth belongs to me.
We do not kneel!
Our only chance is to face this together.
Let's go, baby.
You, Johnny Cage, are a part of this now.
It's showtime.
Get over here!
Johnny will definitely die.